This neurosurgeon from the channel Gooby and Dooby has made this video in which he has shared his experience that he has left working as a neurosurgeon after all this training because he felt that the system was broken and the healthcare system was not letting him help his patients the way he wanted to. Also, he realized certain things and he wanted to share it with his patient, but it wouldn't make any money for the system. His video is just so relatable to me as a psychiatrist. So those of you who don't know me, I am Angie. I'm a psychiatrist. I'm originally from Pakistan. Becoming a doctor was my dream since I was very little, since I was 9 or 10, because my dad was a doctor and he passed away. And he was my ideal. I decided on becoming a psychiatrist because I'm just so fascinated by human mind and I wanted to help people suffering. So when we go to medical school, the first day we take a oath. And the oath is something like we will do no harm and we will alleviate the suffering of our patients. And I would say the most fulfilling part of being a doctor is our contact with patients and to help them live a better life, to improve their quality of life. And of course, we do get paid really well for doing that job, and that doesn't hurt. So when I came here, it was my dream to, after moving to United States, to work in like the world's best hospitals as a psychiatrist. But after working here for a while, I have come to the same conclusion as that doctor, that neurosurgeon has come to, is that the system is broken and the system is not meant to actually fix or heal patients. It is meant to keep patients sick because sick patients usually generate more money. And again, I'm not against any single person, any single organization. It's the whole system. When there's one organization that's wrong or one person that's not doing the right thing, it's easy to fix it. But when the whole system is broken, we need a new system. And it's very difficult to change the system. One person cannot change the system. So that doctor, he did a very brave thing. He just left. And very few people have that courage to just leave their job that's paying them well and then venture into the unknown, not knowing what they are going to do just because they are not fulfilled or happy. I feel actually very frustrated when I see my patients suffering and me not being able to fix their suffering by giving them a pill. I will focus more on depression and anxiety because they are the most common disorders in psychiatry. The focus for being a psychiatrist is to give patients medications and then first diagnose them and then give them medications. What I've noticed in my patients after doing this clinical work is that 1/3 of the patients do very well with medication. They tolerate it well and they get better to the point they function almost normally. 1/3 do get better somewhat, but then they have very unpleasant side effects that affects their quality of life. And then there are 1/3 of patients that do not get better. They tried all kinds of medications and they don't improve. It's not that they are not following the recommendation. They follow recommendations. They follow up with doctors, but still they don't improve. So it's very frustrating to have our treatment just working for 1/3 of patients. What I feel is missing is that we don't treat psychiatric disorders with a more holistic approach. I have seen that some of the patients do very well even without the medications. I'm going to share what I've noticed. Number one, I have seen meditation working really well in patients with depression and anxiety. Usually when someone is severely depressed or severely anxious, at that time they are not in the position to do meditation because they have no motivation, no energy, no they are not able to focus. But at that time, if they take an antidepressant for a short period of time and start to feel better, and then they incorporate meditation in their daily life, it helps prevent future episodes of depression and anxiety. And then they can come off of those medications too, in like few months, and just maintain their practice of meditation. And there are a lot of studies that have shown how beneficial meditation is. Some studies have shown that it is as effective as antidepressants, and it does not cause any side effects. Why meditation is so important and why I said it first is because meditation is a process to purify our mind. Our society don't allow us to express certain emotions. The only emotion that is normalized as feeling okay or feeling good, feeling sad, feeling angry, feeling hurt, feeling disappointed. All of those emotions are considered very negative, and we are under societal pressure to suppress those emotions. So all of those suppressed emotions don't leave us. When we suppress our emotions, they get stuck within us in our subconscious mind. What meditation does is it releases those suppressed emotions from our body and from our mind. Besides meditation, the other very important thing that help patients significantly is working out, moving your body to the point that you're either slightly short of breath or you are sweating. So either walking uphill, hiking, going to gym, doing housework, gardening, swimming, any kind of physical activity. So, I was actually watching a lecture from one of the Harvard psychiatrists who believed that mental health disorders are metabolic disorders, and they are caused by diet. And I do agree with it. What I have noticed is that any diet that doesn't cause peaks in blood glucose help with mood and energy. So it can be keto diet, it can be a healthy vegetarian diet. It can be intermittent fasting. Anything with like less carb and more fat and protein can help you reach those goals. Also, to know if a diet is good for you or not is when after eating, just notice how do you feel 2 hours after eating. If you're feeling super bloated, hating yourself, it means that diet is not good for your body. The fourth thing is connection to a sense of connection to your surroundings, to people around you, to family, to friends. That can really improve one's sense of well-being. So, but these things, we don't focus on these things. These things are good for prevention of both depression and anxiety. And even if someone has an episode of depression or anxiety, they can do these to prevent further episodes. But there's no emphasis on any of these things in our healthcare system. And that's why I just wanted to come here and share these things with everyone. We need to explore more how our bodies can heal themselves and our mind can heal itself. So we are not dealing with the root cause and we are just putting Band-Aid on the symptoms. In the end of the video, I want to share something that will prove to you how powerful our subconscious mind is. Before you are sleeping, don't put alarm on. Okay. So do it for the weekend. So you don't miss something very important. But whenever you want to wake up, when you go to bed, instead of putting alarm on, just say it to yourself. Like me saying it to myself. I'll say, Angie, wake me up at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. Just say it one time before you go to sleep while you are in bed. And without the alarm, you will wake up exactly at 6 a.m. That's how powerful your subconscious mind is. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you next time.